It doesn't matter whether you've just started out in the sport of cycling or you're a dyed-in-the-wool veteran of the sport with thousands, maybe millions of miles in the legs, like Matt. We all make mistakes.
Millions? Oh, thanks, Dan. Anyway, to stop you falling into these common traps, we've compiled a handy list about top errors and mistakes. Get this wrong and you'll end up feeling like you're riding through sand or treacle, or your bike may be pretty tricky to handle, especially in the wet.
Yeah, so if you run your tyre pressure too soft, you'll be wasting valuable energy, and you also put yourself at risk of getting what we call pinch punctures. On the other hand, if you run your tyres too hard, then you risk losing valuable traction around corners and also giving yourself an uncomfortable ride. And that's because it's the tyres, which are the main part of the bike, which dampen road vibration and bumps.
Yeah, as a rough guide, if you're around a 70 kilogram rider, tyre pressure should be for dry conditions between 90 and 100 psi, and for wet conditions between 80 and 90 psi. And it's worth checking your tyre pressure pretty regularly, because even without a puncture, a lot of different tyres can lose pressure over time.
If you get this wrong, it will make you inefficient as a rider, as the power from your legs isn't being delivered properly because you're positioned too high or too low. You also run the risk of injury as well.
So, as a guide, the optimum position leg-wise can be achieved as follows. Ride along with your heel on the pedal. When your leg is at the very bottom of the pedal stroke, your leg should be almost straight, but not quite. Set the saddle at this height.
Don't be afraid to make small adjustments higher or lower from there, just to fine-tune things if required. You should still be able to touch the ground just about with your toes on either side of the bike while sat in the saddle.
Love your bike, and it will sort of love you back. Your bike will last you a lot longer and be far less likely to let you down.
Yeah, so get yourself into the habit of regularly cleaning and maintaining your bike. It's a good idea to really focus on keeping your drivetrain clean and regularly lubricating that, and also checking over your tyres regularly so they've got plenty of wear left in them and there aren't any dangerous looking scratches or nicks in them. And for anything more complicated than that you don't know exactly how to do, it's a good idea every now and again to take your bike to the local bike shop and get it serviced.
I have a mantra, Dan. Wash, dry, lube, wipe off.
I have to admit, I do tend to just get my personal mechanic to do it for me.
You get a mechanic and I don't?
Yep. Get your clothing wrong, and at best what you'll find is that you're a bit uncomfortable on the bike, and at worst you could get yourself into extreme difficulty. So it's always wise to plan ahead, be prepared, and check the weather forecast.
Yeah, how far are you likely to ride? Is the weather likely to change? Now, in colder conditions, it's always a good idea to overdress a little, so you can strip off layers, or at the very least, unzip your top to let the cool air in.
Yeah, on the other hand, if it's very warm out and you set out in your shorts and short sleeves, it's still a really good idea to pack in a small rain cape or gilet wind vest, which you can put and fold up into your back pocket. You never know if the weather, it might just change slightly and you get caught out in some rain, or you might just be going down a long descent where you get a bit chilly.
Know your limits and ability and ride within them. Now, of course, there's nothing wrong at all with having ambition, but the best way to achieve is to build things up nice and gradually, especially if you're new to cycling or coming back after injury or a long layoff.
Yeah, cycling can be a very brutal sport indeed, but it can also be extremely rewarding. So you don't want to risk denting your morale or your motivation by doing too much too soon, because what you'll find is that it can be very hard to get back on track. Do you really want someone to think that you've got some kind of rodent living in your bike? Because as well as annoying you and any mates that you've still got left riding with you, it isn't going to do your chain or cassette any good whatsoever.
It certainly isn't, Dan. That sound is actually the sound of friction wearing away your components. So make sure you put on some bike-specific chain lube.
Yeah, onto a clean chain, remember.
Definitely, and there's a big, wide variety available for wet and dry chains. So pop some on, wipe it off, and away you go, and your bike will be forever grateful.
Yeah, you could actually even save some watts.
Look, we're aware that this is the piece of advice that we've dispensed the most on our GCN videos, without a shadow of a doubt. But we do it for good reason, because we care.
Yeah, and it can sometimes be hard to remember to take all of the spares that you need out with you on a ride. And as they say, if you really want to remember something, it's good to sing it. So Matt's written this nice little ditty, very catchy, called Essential Spares.
Do you want to count me in, Dan?
Okay, a 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4.
2 and tubes.
Gotta be 2.
2 tie levers.
Gotta be 2.
Couple of little patches.
Optional.
And a mini pump.
Big or small.
And a multi-tool.
Ideally with a chain link extractor. I wonder where we're going to the iTunes chart with that.
Don't know, probably straight at number 1.
I'd say quite low, probably.
This next one is a common and basic mistake, which is synonymous with people new to cycling. You may well even have done this yourself or seen a friend do it as a kid, grabbing too much brake too quickly down a steep descent and catapulting themselves over the handlebars.
Yeah, to avoid doing just that and keeping hold of your front teeth, never ever grab the brakes harshly. Braking should be done in a smooth, even fashion so the weight distribution on the bike remains stable.
Yeah, grabbing your brakes can mean that you can lose control and stability on the bike. So instead, make sure that you keep your eyes ahead on the road so you can anticipate when you might need to do it. And when you do need to brake, just gently pull on both levers, applying a little bit more power to the front brake than the rear.
Now, one thing that's very important too, if you're borrowing somebody else's bike or you're using a hire bike, make sure you know which brake does what. So your right and your left, and your front brake and your rear brake. Don't make the mistake that I did.
No, that's really, really important advice.
Although a very fundamentally basic mistake, it seems that no one is immune from sometimes getting their fueling strategy wrong. Even top pros sometimes forget to eat, resulting in a hunger flat or the knock.
Or bonk. Now, if you want to avoid yourself getting into a fuel-starved haze, weaving all over the road or maybe even lying down sleeping by the side of it, then what you want to do is head out from your door with slightly more food and drink than you actually think you're going to need.
Yeah, best thing to take with you are some energy bars or muesli bars, also a few gels and even some homemade flapjack. That's really, really tasty. Also take with you some carbohydrate drink or some electrolyte drink as well. But importantly, know how far and how long you're going to be on your bike so you can plan. Don't leave it to chance.
Then all you have to do is remember to eat and drink on regular occasions throughout your ride, making sure you don't leave it too long after the start to start doing it.
And also, don't forget to take your litter home with you. So there you go. If you avoid those mistakes, you'll be well on your way to maximising your enjoyment out on the open road.
Yeah, now if you would like to work on a few key cycling skills, we've got some great videos for you here on GCN. So just up there is how to improve your cornering, and just down there is how to improve your braking.
And to subscribe to GCN, click in the box just there. It's absolutely free. Oh, tell your mates and like our videos too.
Anything else, mate?
That's it. We'll watch it again if you want.